gives us more legroom. So at the end of the day, I think for Nigeria, we still have a room to to be excited, so to speak. But then if we don't have our production backup line, then we would have issues in terms of oil receipts.
All right, Okoyemi, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, sharing your thoughts with us. Okoyemi Oguntade is a senior economic research analyst with Financial Derivatives Company. So let's continue our focus on oil and gas, but we're bringing it back home now. We're starting with a review of some of the oil and gas stocks listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange that we track here on the program. There are about 7 of them. And so yesterday, we see that Forte Oil was the only gainer on that particular index. It added 2.95% to close at 74 naira, with about 149,270 units traded by investors. Of course, Seplat is at 380 naira, and no volume of value. It's not unconnected to the information given to the Nigerian Stock Exchange that it will be that dealings on the company shares will be suspended between January 29 and March 30 as the company prepares to turn in its financials for the year 2016. And of course, we talked about Nigeria's Transfer Cardos pipeline to reopen near around the second quarter, according to Seplat. That was also released yesterday. So although it was reopened briefly earlier, after months of repairs, further attacks meant that the pipeline had to be closed quickly. And so they're hoping that by the end or near the end of the second quarter, that should come back on stream. Owando was off 4.67%, closing at 4.90 naira kobo with a volume of 2,289,948 units exchanged by investors. No percentage movement on Corn Oil, Mobil, MRS, or Total at the end of Monday's trading session. So it was enough. The gain recorded by Forte Oil was not enough to fully push the index to winning ways. Of course, we have other stocks listed on this particular index, but as I said, only 7 of them will track here on the program. So index came in yesterday at minus 0.02%, with year-to-date at -3%, and dividend yield at 9.1%. The chairman of Forte Oil, the integrated energy provider, Femi Otedola, has advocated adjustments and patience as twin strategies of coping with the present state of the economy and the rising cost of energy for manufacturers. Mr. Otedola, in this brief interview with Channels Television in Lagos on Monday, so as the directors of Forte Oil sit down to consider the 2016 financial statements of the company.
Last has been a very tough year, which I think it's a blessing in disguise. Because, number one, Nigerians tend to get carried away when things seems easy. However, the reality is that we need to all adjust. The current reality of oil prices at these levels, which to me is has come to stay at these low levels. We've had oil prices at high levels, and unfortunately, successive governments have not saved enough for the rainy day. These are tough times, but every company has to look inward to adapt ways to save costs. Unfortunately, for power, for example, now, the cost of power, generating power for industries, for companies, is so exorbitant that wipes out all your profits. But eventually we'll get there. The power reforms needs time for the private sector that have invested heavily in the power reforms. It needs time. The problem with Nigerians is that people want to walk, they never want to crawl. You need to crawl, make mistakes, then you walk and you get to where you intend to get into. If you look at Nigeria today, for visionary entrepreneurs, this is the time to come into Nigeria. You come in when things are down. In a recessed economy, that's when you come in, because things will always get better. Fundamentally, Nigeria depends on oil. Now it's time to diversify the economy. I was telling my daughter the other day, I say, when I was growing up, my mom never used to wear wigs, all this imported there. No, my mom never did. They used to plait their hair, which costs nothing. You create employment for all these local people. Exactly. So we all need to adjust.
It's all about adjustments, of course, as we're coming into 2017. We need to further tighten our belts and look for ways to cope in a recession. As I said at the beginning of the program, of course, a number of companies, investment companies, and of course, financial analysts and financial consultants have been talking about what to expect in 2017 and what to do, how Nigeria can get off a recession and get on the path of recovery without maintaining status quo, because at this time the economy does not need to maintain status quo. Just to quickly remind you of some of the stories that we're tracking. The presidency, in conjunction with the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, will today launch its solar energy project under the presidential initiative for solar home systems beyond the grid in a village in Gwagwalada. That's a suburb near the nation's capital, Abuja. Then the presidency's presidential initiative for solar home system is supporting the deployment of about 20,000 small-scale household solar systems to rural communities in a bid to provide access to sustainable and alternative power solutions to address the immediate power requirements of the people. Now, this is to help, of course, provide up to 8 hours of lighting for these small rural households that are completely unconnected to the grid. This power is clean, reliable, and off-the-grid power. Also happening today, the management of Medview Airlines will visit the Nigerian Stock Exchange to list and present capital market stakeholders with the facts behind the listing. And Channels Television has got an eye on that particular story. We'll be talking to Rotimi much later on the program, and we'll get his thoughts on how the market is going to view this particular list and are they excited about it. So Business Morning continues after now. Join us again.